lovelies, welcome to another video, and today's video is a little different than usual. Now the title of this video is it important to keep your skills up to date? And why I do art studies every single day. So I'm going to start with, is it important to keep your skills up to date? And that answer is yes. You can stop drawing and you can stop your art studies and just keep drawing the way that you draw. However, that also means that you're not going to improve as much as you would like. And so by keeping your skills up to date, you are improving your art and your skills and reaching the goal that you want to reach. So that's why I find it's important for you to keep your skills up to date. The other reason is because you want to develop your own style, and to do that, you need to keep practicing and develop your style. And the only way to do that is to keep your skills up to date. So this comes down to studies, and really I'm going to go into why I do art studies and why they are important for me. So we're going to cover why I do art studies, how long I do them for, and what I use for references. So starting with the first category, why I do art studies, and it goes back to, is it important to keep your skills up to date? And that's exactly it, is to keep my skills up to date, I do my art studies. Because I feel like if I don't do them on a regular day basis, I lose what I've learned, and I really want to be able to keep learning and keep improving what I'm already doing. So again, to better my anatomy skills, I know that my skills for anatomy can be better, and so by practicing these little anatomy studies and stuff like that, such as different head angles, the bones, the muscles inside the body, figure drawings, gesture drawings, and stuff like that really help boost my personal art. And when I do make some art for myself or for videos or anything like that in commissions, I see those improvements as I am working, but I can also note where I need to improve some more, and I will practice that. And it's also to learn new skills. So there may be some tricks and tips out there that I didn't already know, and I found it out by doing these art studies. I don't only do them for body anatomies and stuff like that. I also do these studies for lighting, for shadow work, for shading, lineless art, which is not something that I've ever done, 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, and 4 point perspective. So I do these types of studies for just about everything that I want to learn, and I do it a couple of times in a row, and then I'll switch it up to try something else, just so that I can keep my memory fresh and I don't get bored of what I'm doing, because over time it could get really repetitive and you can feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again, but really you're practicing so that your hand can get the feeling of the movement. So the next thing is how long I do my studies for, and honestly, I do them daily for 15 to 20 minutes. They go around that time. I try to take my time. I try to really look at what I'm doing. You'll see me in this video where I go back and forth between my references, and I try to place either the shadow in the correct areas, or I try to make sure that my lines are in the correct areas. And I break down if it's a full drawing or a less detailed sketch. I break it down into shapes that I normally use so that I can better do it myself and see where things would fall on the face. And honestly, I do traditional and digital. I try to switch it up so that I don't feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. Typically, I will use traditional art just because I like to keep it in my sketchbook. But if I'm doing, let's say, a live stream or something like that, and I have some spare time at the end of the live stream, I will do my studies on there. And yeah. it's just to keep, again, your wrist loose so that when you get into drawing or something like that, that you feel like you can get the results that you want. So, and what I use for references, and there's various sources and stuff like that that I do use for this. So the first one is various how-to books. I personally own quite a bit, but what I'll do is I'll leave my favorite ones down in the comment below so that you can look at them yourself. So I will use the Mark Curley books, which are very popular, and most of you guys should know who Mark Curley is. He's always been a really big inspiration for me, and his how-to books are very nicely detailed, and they work great, and he really breaks it down into shapes that you can understand so that you can better understand everything. And he goes over perspectives as well, which is also a great thing. The other one I use a lot is the Anatomy, a Complete Guide. I'll also leave that one down below. I don't remember the author for that one, but it really goes into depth about the anatomy of the body anatomy, so it'll break down from the bones to the muscles and then to the facial structures and all that, so that you can really get a grasp as to where some of your lines should be falling. And I use it on a really, really regular basis, and honestly, I couldn't go without that. The other thing I use is Pinterest, and I don't know how some people feel about that. But Pinterest is one of the ones that I use quite a bit, where I can get some quick references so that I can better understand some things. As you can see in this video, I saved some images from Pinterest, and I went back and forth between them, and that's how I did it. If I'm doing traditional art, then I just pull it up on my computer and I look at it on my computer while I'm sketching. And the other references that I use, especially if I'm doing gesture drawing, is quickposes.com, and you really get to pick the type of things that you want. So poses, faces, hands, feet, animals, landscape, urban, the gender, the clothing, and how long you want to be able for them to show up for on the screen. I typically pick 60 seconds, that's a minute, and that's more than enough for me, and I typically do 10 of them at a time, and it really just helps me get the gesture of the drawing. So that's the biggest thing for me. And those are basically the main references that I use. However, I do use other ones, and yeah, I do use other ones, and yeah, that's basically why I do my studies, is just to make sure that I keep up to date with what I do and to improve what I already know and to better my skills in general format. So for the studies that I do, I see the improvement in my personal art, and that makes me happy, especially when it comes to my manga art and stuff like that, considering that most of this applies to my manga art. I don't typically draw people on my personal time. I do more abstract on my personal time than I do anything else. I'm sure you guys have seen that on all my social medias. So these two here in this video are two examples of what I would do. Both of these took about 15 minutes to do. They are sped up for a little bit for this video. But you can find more examples of what I do on my Instagram, my Facebook, and my Twitter, and you can see what kind of studies that I do. I do try to do them first thing in the morning, however, sometimes that's not always the case, and that's not how it works out. But I do strongly suggest that if you're an artist, start doing some studies, man. Last year, I started my studies when COVID first hit, and I saw improvement very quickly, and the more that I did it, the more improvement I saw, and then I stopped because I started work again. But now that I'm back off because of COVID, again, I'm seeing these improvement in my art, and I really don't want to lose that. That's why I keep doing it. And yeah, honestly, leave down in your comment below what you like to do as art studies, and I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll see you guys at the end. Ciao, ciao. are listening to a pre-recorded outro. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button as well as the bell to be notified, and I'll see you all in the next video. Yumi-chan, over and out.